Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be covering a topic that a lot of writers or content providers often face this issue, which is often termed writer's block. Now, I don't really like that term. I think it has a negative connotation to the issue. I think what it really is fatigue. So I'm going to give you an example of when I experience writer's fatigue and I'm staring at that blank page and it becomes overwhelming. I'm staring at this blank page and the blank page becomes a big universe. It's staring right back at me and can become very frustrating, and maybe I don't know how to start, and not knowing how to start gets me into this big kerfuffle in my head. The best thing to do at this point is to just set it aside. Think about it for a minute. Now, most of the time this happens because I'm exhausted. I'm literally exhausted. I've got, business management behind the scenes going on, managing the taxes, managing the record keeping, the follow-ups, the communications, the querying, the submissions, the dealing with the media, the uploading new content to the variety of, sites, networking sites, media paid groups that were involved in, attending, webinars and networking events and authors group meetings and online writers groups, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on, all the different things that go on behind the scenes, not including writing, continuing to write books, continuing to write articles, for other people. So let's say someone comes to me and says, on top of all this stuff, we're giving you this opportunity to provide us with an article for our blog. And that's awesome, that's wonderful, I love that. However, if it's something I have to write fresh, like brand new content, then I have to take this extra time. I can't just submit something that I've already previously written. I have to submit something new, and maybe on top of all of this stuff that is already going on behind the scenes. So I'm at a point of exhaustion, and now I have to come up with something else to write about, something new that's going to appeal to their audience. And sometimes that can be a bit overwhelming, and sometimes my thoughts get a little bit uh, like stunned. You feel a little bit stunned. You don't know where to go, not really comfortable with maybe the assignment. There's all kinds of things that are going on in your head. Now, the best thing to do is to realize that what you're in right now is fatigue. And so you need to just stop, turn off the computer, turn off your phone, turn off the television. Don't pick up a book. Don't get involved in any other chore or activity or business activity, and don't feel guilty about it. Take this time to go stroll through a garden, go for a nature walk, take the dogs for a walk several times, take a couple of days where you're just quiet, quiet, quiet. No distractions, no electronics, no technology. Give your mind the rest that it needs. And, you need that sound of silence. If you're going to play music that doesn't have lyrics, something calming, quieting, something that's going to ease your mind and feed your soul. Be around water, running water, if you can be around a pond or a creek or a river or, any of those kinds of things, really, really powerful. These will help you come back mentally refreshed. If you're a gardener and it's gardening season, if you have a deck and you're gardening there, maybe you have house plants, any of those things, play with your cat, play with your dog, anything else than something that's going to stimulate your mind. This is your rest period. Let it be. Let it be. Breathe. And this is the time that you're giving back to yourself. You're recharging your batteries. And sometimes just doing that alone, all of a sudden the channels in your head just start synapsing, and all of a sudden these ideas start coming, and you're aching to get back to the keyboard, running to get back to the keyboard in some cases. And that's a phenomenal thing to have happen. Now, another thing that I have found very, very helpful is to do this, but also start talking about the issue that I'm having with someone that I'm collaborating with. Maybe it's my partner, my business partner, who is also my husband, and my co-writer. So I will be approaching him and saying, look, I'm having issues with maybe this communication that I'm trying to put out, or this ending of this chapter. I don't know how to start this topic. And just talking about it sometimes. He doesn't even have to, offer ideas, and my brain will open up and come up with ideas. Sometimes just talking to the walls or talking to someone about what you're facing will help you, will help your mind come up with a solution. Other times, the person across from you is going to say just the right thing, and all of a sudden, click. And you're just, like, oh, I got to end this meeting because I got to get back to that keyboard because now I'm all jazzed up to write. And it can be very, very helpful to have that feedback and all of that. So bring that back to your quiet space, sit there for a moment and really think about what you're going to be talking about in what you're going to be writing. Another thing that I do just before I start writing, when I'm having these types of uh, fatigue of the mind, if I haven't already had a channel open where I'm aching to get to that keyboard, maybe I have some ideas, I've thrown around a couple topics, but I'm still kind of not sure where to go with it. I'll go to the source. I'll say, okay, this blog, this newsletter, this magazine has assigned me this project. I'm going to go there now and I'm going to look at their advertisers. Why do I think those advertisers have chosen that particular outlet? What appeals to them? What kind of keywords are the advertisers using? What does the magazine itself talk about in its guidelines, in its policies, in its about us pages, about the staff, who the staff are? Some things, maybe sometimes they're previously published content that has something along the lines of what you're talking about, and maybe you'll notice, oh geez, there's some gap in information that they haven't covered yet. I'm going to talk about that. So there's lots of things that can inspire you to really come up with fresh content when your mind is exhausted. So hopefully that helps you in your content creation endeavors, and keep coming back to this channel because we're going to be covering a number of tips for addressing this so-called writer's block or creative content block. It really is just mental fatigue. So we'll come back to a whole bunch of tips and ways of dealing with this particular issue on this channel. So keep on tuning in and scrolling through those published videos to find more content that will help you out in your careers. Thanks for joining us today.